This is question 4 from exercise 10.5 here in Project Maths 1. And to the left of the question, I have included an explanation of the universal set, the intersection, and the union, because we'll need to know what they are before we start the question up. So let's take a look at our explanations. The universal set is a set containing all elements used in a given question, and is denoted by the letter U. And in a Venn diagram, the universal set is represented by a rectangle, and this rectangle would go around the circles representing the other sets. The intersection of two sets, A and B, is the list of elements that are in both A and B. So these are a list of elements that they have in common. And it's written like this, with the symbol for intersection looking kind of like an N. And that's pronounced A intersection B. The union of two sets, A and B, is the set of elements formed by joining together all of the elements of A and B. And it is written like that, as we can see on the left, just there. And it's pronounced A union B. The symbol for union looks more like a U, like an upside down intersection sign. So let's go to the question. We have to represent U, A, and B with a Venn diagram. U is the set containing the elements 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. A is the set containing the elements 2, 4, and 5. And B is the set containing the elements 2, 5, 6, and 8. The first thing we have to do when we're doing this is we've got to draw out what our Venn diagram is going to look like. The universal set is going to be represented by a rectangle. So that's going to look like this. And we're going to make sure to label it U. And then the other two sets are going to be circles within U. So I'll put down A first. We label it. And then B is going to overlap A slightly, like that. Okay, and now when we're filling out Venn diagrams like this, we always start from the center and work our way out. So we start from the intersection. The intersection in here is going to contain any elements that are in both A and B. So let's look up here. A is 2, 4, 5 and B is 2, 5, 6, 8. So 2 and 5 are in both A and B, which means that they're going to go in the middle like this. Okay. Now in the rest of A, you can put down any numbers that are in A that aren't in B, and that would just be 4. So 4 goes out here, like that. And then in the rest of B, you can put down any elements that are in B but aren't in A. And that's just going to be 6 and 8. So 6 and 8. Now the last numbers that we're going to fill in are elements that are in U but aren't in A or B. So they're going to go inside the rectangle but not inside the circles. Let's just go through this and see what we got. So 2 is already listed. 3 is not. So we can put down 3. 4 is already listed. 5 is listed. 6 is listed. 7 isn't. So put down 7. And 9 isn't listed either. And these can just go anywhere in the rectangle outside the circles. I just put them on the bottom for simplicity. So that right there is part 1 of our question. Done. Represent U, A, and B with a Venn diagram. For part 2, we have to list the elements of A union B and A intersection B. So, A union B is what you get when you combine the two sets together. And you got to remember, when you're listing out the elements of sets, you don't repeat any elements. So put our curly bracket down and we start listing these out. So what's inside the element with the sets A and B? We've got 4, 2, 5, 6, and 8. So those are all the elements that are in A and B combined together without any repeats. A intersection B, well, that's just going to be the elements that they have in common with each other. So just the ones that are in both of them. And that's going to be 2 and 5. Like that. For part 3, we're asked to explain why A union B is a subset of U. There's a couple of different ways to explain it, but the easiest is that all of the elements in A union B are also inside set U, which means that A union B is a subset of U. If you look at it over on the diagram, you can also see that A union B is everything contained within two circles together, and they are inside the rectangle that represents U. So that's another way to look at it. And then for part 4 of this question, we have to evaluate the cardinal number of U minus the cardinal number of A union B. Remember, the cardinal number means the number of elements in the set. So let's just count these up first. So the cardinal number of U, it's going to count them. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 elements in U. And then we're going to take away from that the number of elements in A union B, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3. And that is that.